Well, I am David Grigsby. Most of you guys know me. I've been here for quite some time. I've had the privilege of kind of taking you through a healthcare journey with me every time I speak, starting off with just kind of the amazingness of the human body, who we are, how we heal so amazingly, unlike any other machine or any other item in the world. I've taken you through healthcare choices, different ways we can go for care when it comes to musculoskeletal issues. And I'm going to take you down a little bit different path today based on how technology is assisting us in doing these things. So I hope you'll be interested to hear what we're doing in our clinic and also reaching out across the world with telecommunications and telehealth here in the Memphis area and then through partnerships across the country. So our clinic name is MidSouth Orthopaedic Rehab. We also have an arm of that called Physio Telecare. Physio is kind of universal for physical therapy, and telecare is what we're looking at with the telehealth communications. Care, we're connecting. A, we're assessing. R, we're returning you back to normal function. And E, we want to empower patients to get back to their normal day-to-day activity on a self-management platform. So Albert Einstein said this pretty well. He said that, "I fear the day that technology will surpass our human interaction. The world will have a generation of idiots." If you look at the pictures, everybody's looking down, right? Nobody's looking up. No one's paying attention to each other. And so how do we take technology and instead of turning into idiots, turn us into people that are doing things better for ourselves, helping ourselves, and not continue to look down all the time? Well, I've got a picture of a young lady here who's accessing telehealth. She's had a back problem, and she's facilitating some movement for her back through the computer through the aid of someone assisting her. So maybe we can make people a little bit smarter, engage them a little bit earlier in their care so they don't have downstream costs and issues that may arise that require more treatment, possible surgeries, and things of that nature. So what is the need for this? Well, Mayo Clinic did a study in 2013. They looked at the top 10 reasons people go see their doctor, and 2 of the top 3 reasons were back pain and joint pain. A similar study was done by Sawyer. They looked at joint disorders. Forbes looked at one that did knee pain. Those were top issues that people go see their doctor. 56 million cases of people going to the doctor for these issues. So there's a need for musculoskeletal care, much like Teladoc is doing for skin disorders and general coughs and sneezes, things of that nature. So there's a high prevalence and a high need. But there's some problems with our typical approaches. There's some inefficiencies to the way that we typically treat people. Length of disability comes into play. All length of disability is people's time off of work or time away from their normal activities. And technology can even play a part in that. We don't often think about it, but those who receive x-rays on average have 30 days of length of disability compared to those who don't, 10 days. Those who have narcotic medications for pain typically are off length of disability for 45 days compared to 17. And specialist consults, orthopedists, neurologists, those who see them because of the time it takes to get in usually, run through tests. That length of disability can be 48 days compared to those who don't for 11. Then MRIs, there's a huge jump there, 115 days length of disability. So we're looking at technology. Sometimes can be a great thing, sometimes there's a need, but it can also be a problem. And Mahmoud did that study in 2008. And then Chow came back and he looked at some inefficiencies with primary care. There's usually poor adherence to guidelines. So when you go for musculoskeletal problems, you may get one thing one place and get another thing another place. And picking on my own profession, traditional physical therapy, where you go and you get ultrasound, heat, E-stim, things of this nature have been shown to be very poor in their long-term outcome as well as short-term outcome for folks. Even manipulation and back school education has been found not to be as efficient and effective for people for long-term outcomes. So there's some inefficiency to the approaches. One of the other things that we found is if we delay early care to folks, length of disability also increases, but cost increases, sometimes up to $1,000 more per case, and satisfaction goes down in those folks who aren't receiving early care. Fritz did a study that found on average, if you see people with back pain within 14 days of their onset, you're going to save that person $2,700 in care, and you're going to reduce the likelihood of surgery by significant margins. So there's some inefficiencies, and because of that, why would we do what we do? Why Physio Telecare? Well, I like a couple of quotes. One is, tell me and I'll forget, show me and I'll remember, but involve me and I'll understand. So if you involve people in their care, they tend to understand what to do for themselves and how to take care of the problem to prevent future issues. Also, like what Abraham Lincoln said, he said, you cannot help men permanently by doing for them what they could and should do for themselves. So it's important that as healthcare providers, we don't put all the onus on us. We want to encourage people to be active participants in their care. So why physio-telecare? Well, we feel like our delivery is important. If traditional physical therapy fails with modalities, then how do we apply something that's going to be effective? Well, mechanical diagnosis and therapy is the treatment process we use. It's an assessment that's dynamic. It allows us to use certain movements to help people get better, and it allows people to take those movements outside the clinic and get relief. And there's a lot more examples I've given in previous talks and I can do as well when we get together. But the interest behind this is in the research. The research shows that it's reliable. So in other words, if I'm on the computer assessing someone, or if I have a cohort who's also credentialed, who's in North Carolina or somewhere like that that's assessing someone, we're going to get similar findings. We're going to get very reliable findings, which is a good thing when you develop a network of telehealth and telecommunications. And it's patient-centered. It's been shown to predict those who will resolve conservatively. So if we have someone in front of us, if we see certain responses in the assessment, we know that person is going to do well with conservative care. If we don't see those, then we need to move them on quickly, and that's the power of the assessment. We don't have to drag people through the mud just to do that. If they're going to do well with conservative care, there's going to be predictors. If we don't see that, we move them on to their doctor or to a specialist if needed. It identifies and expedites return to work. We're seeing folks come back to work. If the average length of disability is 87 days, we're seeing people come back to work 25 days in some studies. So huge length of disability decreases if we can help people out quickly with MDT. And the likelihood of surgery reduces by 6 times. So those are big numbers, big cost savers as well. And it reverses conditions from worsening and no improvement to those who get statistically significant improvement in pain and function just by proper assessment early. So not only that, the delivery, but also the data. Our clinic has been shown over the last 4 years to be efficient and effective. Some of the things that we're doing are showing that we see people on average 4 fewer visits, and we're getting greater than 25% improvement in those fewer visits for folks. So if you come see me or you go through our assessment process, we're typically going to get you better, faster, based on the data, and we have a high satisfaction rate at the same time. So people are happy with the fact that they get better, faster. So fast access and a low cost and efficient manner for non-complicated musculoskeletal conditions, that's why we're proposing what we're proposing and we're doing what we're doing. It improves workforce performance and reduces distractions. Presenteeism as well as absenteeisms are issues. People that have pain are at work, they're not paying attention to their work, they're hurting, so we can help with those issues. Put things on site that allow us to access the employee on site to help them out. And there does exist a reliable way of assessing and treating people with MDT assessment like I was mentioning, which is very important for individuals like yourself and also for businesses who could use help with reducing absenteeism, presenteeism, and then are also interested in reducing cost downstream for surgeries, MRIs, and things of that nature. So who am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for symptom sufferers, we like to say. Anybody that's hurting, doesn't have access to getting into the clinic. I have a great patient example that I'm going to email you guys later, a 39-year-old female who found herself stuck on the floor and couldn't get up. But she could get her husband to put her laptop in front of her, and we could take her through the process of getting her up, which we did in 20 minutes. And within 3 days, she was back running. So there's a process that's good if we can get to people early, and if they can get some technology in front of them, whether it's a phone or a computer, they don't even have to get out of their house. So it can be easy and it can be accessible. Looking for self-insured companies, those around 1,000 employees or less. The reason I'm looking for those folks is I want to be able to reach out to their employees, help them maybe in the workplace so they're not having to leave work, they're not having to miss work. Then I'm also looking for commercial insurance providers. The reason I'm doing that is because of a project that we currently have going on with some on discount benefit cards that allow us to have their members access us and our care. So this is the patient example that I'll let you guys look at later. And then this is what we're doing with Telemed Plus. We're currently working with them to provide these telecommunications services to their card members, their caring members for them. So it's physio-telecare. It's something different. It's healthcare in a way that connects, assesses, recovers, and empowers the patient. It's a way of reaching out outside of the clinic to empower people to get back faster and then maintain improvement for the long-term care. So I'm David Grigsby with MidSouth Orthopaedic Rehab and Physio-Telecare. And thanks for your time and thanks for listening.